can do to a steak to mess it up like that is to put it in a cold skillet. Always put your steaks, your hamburgers, your fish, your anything that you cook, always put it on a hot pan. Any questions?
I have a question on how to cook bacon to where it's real flaky, it's crispy and flaky.
2 ways.
Okay.
I heat my pan, I put a little oil in it. And it's funny because bacon's full of fat, but you know what? Put a little oil in it because it keeps the bacon from sticking. You get a sizzle. Lay your bacon in there, and you turn it over, and it's going to be crispy. But you have to put it in a hot pan, because if you don't, then what's going to happen, like I said, your bacon will get tough too. It'll shrivel up real bad, and it'll really, really be ugly and everything. Put it on a hot pan. Another way to do bacon is to lay it on a baking sheet. Lay it out. That's the way we do it in restaurants. That's how your bacon looks pretty. We lay it all out on a baking sheet and put it in a hot oven. The oven has to be hot enough. Okay? That's the best way to do bacon.
When you say a cooking sheet, that's
a
not
baking
like,
sheet, a cookie sheet.
Cookie sheet.
No, well, a cookie sheet, the oil will run off. You need to put it on a cookie sheet that has height on the sides to keep the oil from spilling into the oven. Because some of the cookie sheets you have no trim, no side, no height on the sides, and the oil naturally. And we all know that we would put bacon on that, but you know sometimes you just have to say it. You know? So any questions? Okay. Some of the things that we're going to do in this class, like I said, we're going to do chicken next week. So what we're going to do with that is that I'm going to do a baked chicken, I'm going to do a fried chicken recipe, and then I'm going to do an oven fried chicken recipe. And people wonder how oven fried chicken works. Oven fried chicken works when you put eggs, you put buttermilk, and you know you soak your chicken in eggs, buttermilk, and you know some people have different seasonings in it. You let that soak. And when you're ready to put it in the oven, you take that brown paper bag and you put the flour in it and you shake it up and you lay it on there and you put it in a hot oven. What happens is your chicken bakes all the way through, but at the same time, you have a coating that's developing and it's getting real crisp. What happens is buttermilk and eggs require a low temperature to really get hard and really cook. So you don't need a high temperature. If you don't need a high temperature for that coating, the coating browns and the inside of the chicken is done. Now, if you bake chicken, anytime you bake chicken, I don't care if it's oven fried chicken or baked chicken or whatever, you need a thermometer. You need a thermometer and you need to stick it in your chicken in the thickest part, and your thermometer has to register at least 165. It can go 80. Some of us like stuff cooked, so we'll go 180 degrees. We bake a turkey. We want to take it to 165, but some of us like well-done stuff, so we'll stick it in the thickest part of the breast, and we'll go to about 180. No more than 185, because then your burr becomes really dry. I thought that was the police were saying. I mean, I haven't done anything, but you know. Sometimes you just get shaken up. We're going to take a break real quick, and any questions that you guys have, please ask me. Because next week when we come in here, we will do fried chicken. We're going to do fried chicken, we're going to do gravy, and the way we do gravy, give me a second. The way we do gravy is that we'll heat the pan, because I heat the pan for everything. We heat the pan, we put some oil in it, then we mix some flour in that oil. But we want the oil to sizzle. When the flour is added to the oil, it needs to sizzle. Now I put enough flour, I don't measure it, but I put enough flour to come to the consistency of pancake mix. And I continue to cook that, and I stir it, let it sit, stir it, let it sit, until it becomes the color of an old penny. Once it gets that color, then you add your water to it. But when we're halfway there, I'll chop some onions and add it to it, which really adds a lot of flavor to it. And then I'll add some water to it. Some people add cold water. I add boiling water because I got chicken base in there, which is something like the seasoning pack from Top Ramen. So I add that to it, which is what, you know, one of the secrets that I have to make my gravy screaming. I love my gravy.
Somebody was talking about a recipe. I think it was Auntie Sam was talking about a recipe today about an oven baked chicken with the onions, the crunchy onions that you get in a can. do you also, with those, do you also use like the buttermilk or milk base?
No, you know what you
That's
do with those? The way you get those onions is you slice them and you drop them in oil and fry them. Sometimes you can fry those guys, but before you fry them, sometimes you can just drop them in flour and then drop them in oil. Some of the best onion rings I ever had in my life is slicing an onion, putting it in milk, then putting it in flour, dropping it in oil. It's the best onion rings I ever tasted in my life. Because sometimes when you do onion rings, you got an egg and milk mixture. You put the onions in that. Then first you put the onions in flour, and then you put them in the milk and egg mixture. Then you put them in breadcrumbs, and it's messy. It's just continuous, and you get tired of that. So you don't do that. The easiest way to do it is put it in milk and then put it in flour, drop it in there. Now with the sometimes when I do French fries, this is cool. You guys got to try this. I'll cut the French fries, and I'll drop the French fries in the hot oil, and then I'll slice some onions and drop them in there when they're halfway cooked. And those are the best French fries you probably would ever have. It's those, the onions are good, the French fries are good, and I don't even like French fries. I'm serious. But I like them when I do it like that. Any questions, you guys, before we take a break? You guys enjoy some chips and stuff, because like I said, we're not cooking tonight. But we will get back into cooking next week. I have been off for a little bit. Plus, we had a lot of things to do earlier on in church. We were doing a lot of things. So we learned